So I was finally able to check out Clint Eastwood's newest film, which only got released into 50 theaters, and it's finally available to stream and rent. So let's talk about Juror number 2. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe if you like these kind of videos, but let's get into today's review. Juror number 2 follows Justin, a man who is called to jury duty on a case that he believes he may actually have been the one to commit the crime. A man is being suspected of murdering his girlfriend after having an argument in a bar, but Justin believes that he actually may have been the one to hit her on the side of the road. So for the rest of the movie, he tries to do his best, being a juror on the case, to come up with a reason as to why the man is not guilty, but also making sure that he doesn't come out as being the guilty one. It's a really interesting story. I was very excited for this movie when I saw the trailer for the first time a couple months ago, and was very excited to see that this is Clint Eastwood's latest film at 94 years old, so this could potentially be his last film ever. And if it is, this is a really good way to end a movie career. Clint Eastwood is an absolute legend. As stated, it's amazing that at 94 years old, he was able to direct this movie, which I think this movie was great. I think the story is very interesting. This feels like a murder mystery film that we would have gotten in the 90s, in which we kind of know the entire story from the very beginning, but we are taken through this journey as to the other people around the main character is trying to figure out the story as well. But it was very, very intriguing throughout the entire thing. And I think Nicholas Hoult puts in a really good performance as Justin, as this man who knows pretty much that he is the one that actually committed this crime, but we don't actually know 100% if he did. Everything may have just aligned so perfectly to the fact that, you know, he might not have hit her, or B, the boyfriend actually did kill her, and there's just these two sides that are constantly arguing at each other, and it's really a tough thing to really decide as to who did the killing. This film reminded me a lot of a movie that came out last year called Anatomy with a Fall, which was like one of the best court dramas that I've seen recently. And although this movie is not on par with that movie, this is still a great movie, but it had that same idea as to having the audience really think about who did the killing. Because like in Anatomy with a Fall, it was suspected that the wife did the killing, or that the husband, you know, committed suicide, which is a tough thing to talk about. But in this movie, it follows a similar premise in which we're pretty much convinced that he did it, but at the same time, it's kind of tricky because there isn't a piece of evidence that proves 100% that he was the one to kill her, but it's more believable than anything else that has been said. This is also a very different murder mystery film to come out in recent years. I feel like it doesn't follow specific tropes in these kind of movies. This one felt very in its own realm of murder mystery because like I said at the beginning, we know from the very beginning what the story is about and how it's going to play out. But it's very interesting to see how our main character is going to go about coming up with a way of proving that the man being accused isn't guilty, but also how he's going to prevent the real truth of coming out. And it's kind of very on the edge of your seat kind of movie. And I think Clint Eastwood did a fantastic job directing it. Now, over the last couple years, Clint Eastwood has still been in the ranks. He has been making movies. This is definitely the best film that he has made in a while. I mean, it's a really, really good film. I mean, it's entertaining. It's kind of suspenseful. I think there's really, really, really good acting here. And I like the going back and forth to trying to figure out what is really happening. Now, it's not the most complex movie. It's not like insanely complicated to follow. Like I said, it kind of, you know, tells you everything at face value, and it doesn't really give you a ton to think about, but it's really intriguing to see how the characters go about figuring it out. Also, I really think it solidifies jury duty to a T. Now, I've never personally been on a juror, but the way the characters in this movie act are so annoying, and every single time someone like uttered a word, I just thought to myself, they would drive me nuts. And I am almost 100% positive that that is how those things usually play out. There's always going to be those people that are just going to say they're guilty because they just want to get out of jury duty, which is like horrible. I mean, like, because in this movie, it really makes you think about that, because we pretty much know for a fact that the person being accused isn't the one that actually committed the crime. So seeing these people just wanting to get out of jury duty and saying that he's guilty based off of a couple things they have heard and pretty much are just judging a book by its cover, it is kind of annoying and upsetting, because in this movie, the person that actually committed the murder is in the same room with them, and all they're saying is like, oh, we could talk about, the hypotheticals, or we can talk about possibilities for, forever and not get anywhere. But it's just like, well, I mean, when you're trying to figure out a case, you kind of have to go through every single little thing. And it touches on that sort of, the wrongdoings in the courtroom a lot of the times when it comes to sentencing people and really not having a full grasp onto a case. And this movie, there really wasn't anything. And when it came to, accusing this man, they had the suspicion, they suspected that the woman was killed with a blunt object, but there was nothing discovered to suggest that he could have done that. And it was all just very messy to put someone in prison. They weren't even doing any sort of work to actually find the actual person that did it. And I think that was a very interesting way of going about creating a court drama. Like I said, nothing insanely original. I think it's very interesting, very fun, very, very, very good acting, and I think one of Clint Eastwood's best films in a very long time. But yeah, I think Juror number 2 was a great movie. It's really upsetting that this movie didn't get released into theaters. Clint Eastwood's 94 years old. How that is so disrespectful to not put this movie in theaters worldwide. First off, because it's a great movie, needs to be seen in theaters, and I wish that there was a theater close to me at the time of it coming out where I could have gone to the theater to see it, because I would have much rather have gone to the theater to see it rather than renting it at home. But I have a job to do and I got movies to watch, so I have to watch them at home sometime. But I would have loved to see it in theaters. And it's just such a disrespect to the legend that Clint Eastwood is and to what he has brought to the film industry. So shame on y'all. Put movies in theaters. Put movies back in theaters. We need movies to be in theaters. I don't care how bad it is. Put movies in theaters. That is where they deserve to be watched. But anyways, like I said, if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe if you like these kind of videos. I'm very interested to see what you thought about Juror number 2, so make sure to let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for sticking around to the very end. That'll bring us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. And remember, your movie moment is right around the corner. See you in the next video.